Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. 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 Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
From the
shalom.
warm confines of Central Synagogue here in Midtown Manhattan on a super chilly morning. We hope you're warm wherever you are. We're so glad to be together for Shabbat. I am Mo Salth, joined on the bima by our senior cantor, Daniel Mutlu, and our magnificent musicians who will help all of us celebrate Shabbat with song, particularly on this Shabbat, which is known as Shabbat Shirah. Shirah means song. It is the special Shabbat each year where we particularly take notice and appreciation of the songs that we sing and the songs our ancestors sang long ago, the song especially that they sang of freedom at the other side of the sea, which they had crossed through into freedom. In our sanctuary, we have these beautiful water-inspired banners hanging from our balconies, our really tremendous AV staff. We'll show them throughout the service so you can get a sense of the special feeling of the crossing through the sea that we've created here in our sanctuary. And here they are. So look how we've hung these banners from the balconies, and they kind of give you a little sense of walking through the Sea of Reeds, maybe like our ancestors did. So,
And those words.
Those
that are on
words,
those
and the
banners
words.
will be
Go ahead,
chanted this
Kendra, go
morning.
ahead.
Well, they'll be chanted this morning by someone very special.
That's right. We have not just us leading this service this morning. We have the most remarkable bar mitzvah. Brody is here with his family from their home. I want to put them on the screen so we can see them. And look at them. They look great. And you can see they're looking like they're in the middle of the sea themselves. To the right and the left of them, the waters have parted in this very challenging time. We've parted the waters of the pandemic and have them with us in our sanctuary. So Brody will soon be leading us as well this morning. And Brody, we're so thrilled to be with you on this day which you become bar mitzvah. If you would like to follow along with our prayer book, you can find it on our centralsynagogue.org website, on our worship and live streaming page. You can also share some comments throughout the service on our Facebook live feed. We have friends from all around the world: Brazil, Canada, Mexico, Newton, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Ghana, and from around the corner. So this is truly a global celebration of Shabbat, and it's so good to be together.
All right, well, we're going to continue now with a special blessing for our souls. We say thank you in the morning after we wake up that we have breath again in our bodies and our souls are revived. So we'll continue now on page 78, if you have a prayer book in front of you, with Elohai Neshama. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi. Tehorahi, Tehorahi, Elohai, 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 Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. One more time, Elohai, 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 Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, 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 Tehorahi. And we'll continue now with our call to worship, our Baruch Hu on page 108. If you are able, we'll ask you to rise at home. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Leolam Vaed, HaMevorach, HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Excuse me, we're going to continue in song as we continue our morning prayers.
Baruch Ata Adonai,
Baruch Shemo,
Habocher Bamo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. And you may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha. Ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shirantam levanecha v'divarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם לזאת ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We now come to the Micha Mocha, and these words are in the song that our Bar Mitzvah Brody is going to chant this morning. Much longer song of the sea, but the Micha Mocha is that line, that essence of freedom, as we say, who is like you, Adonai, who freed us, who performed wonders and miracles before the sight of our ancestors. So we'll sing together, and maybe we'll sing it the way that they sang it at the sea, with me leading and you responding at home. We can imagine maybe across the ocean, across the sea, the two people of Israel and Moses singing back and forth with each other, and Miriam too leading the people. So we'll sing together. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh, nora tehilo osei feleh, nora tehilo osei feleh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh, nora tehilo osei feleh, nora tehilo osei feleh.
What an awesome idea, Cantor, of crossing through a sea that has been split and entering on the other side safe and free. We continue now with our tefillah. You can join us on page 124. Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agitehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Sonim refim refi vegion libi lefanecha, yiyu leratzonim refim refi vegion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri vegoali, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri vegoali, yiyu leratzonim refim refi vegion ליבי לפניך, יהיו לרצון אמרפי אמרפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי, יהיו לרצון אמרפי אמרפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, יהיו לרצון אמרפי אמרפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך.
We're entering the section of the service where we will read from the Torah, and it's traditional during this part of the service to share a prayer for our nation, which I'll do now. You can join me on page 258. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and may our country be sound in body and in spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Brody, we're going to invite you to come forward to the podium and introduce these words that you have for us to welcome in this section of our Torah service, the words that begin the Light of Torah.
The light of Torah shines forth from Zion. Iron teachings flow from Jerusalem. This school has nurtured our people from Sinai to today. It teaches love and justice, hope and peace.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav.
And now, Brody, I'll invite your parents and your brother to come next to you and share some words with you on this day that you become bar mitzvah. Blake, are you going to go first? Go ahead.
Brody, it was just last year I was in your position as bar mitzvah. I know I'm going to be a very hard act to follow, but I'm confident that you will do amazing. All jokes aside, it's been a truly difficult year, and through it all, you've done a great job persevering and adapting to this new reality. I'm very proud of you and all your hard work as you become bar mitzvah. I love you and I'm excited to celebrate all your success.
So nice, thank you. And now your parents, I'm going to remind you to look at your parents when they're speaking to you and they to you, because we'll be watching, but we want you to be focused on each other. Go ahead.
You are so lucky to have family and friends watching and supporting you from near and far. As you stand before us today, you look particularly handsome in the tallis that was handed down from your grandfather Barry, who's with us today. He wore this very tallis during his bar mitzvah, and it is his hope that you will wear it proudly today and one day hand it down to your son or daughter on their special day.
A spice box is used during the Jewish ritual of Havdalah to mark the end of the Sabbath. The sweet aroma of the clover spice is meant to enhance the celebration of Shabbat. Brody, this spice box belonged to your great-great-grandfather, Harry Rosenberg. Harry grew up in Austria, the son of a silversmith. Harry's father wanted him to become a rabbi, and thus they sent him to Palestine. In 1882, think about how long ago that was, with nothing more than a tiny pocket Bible and this spice box, Harry came to America in search of a better life. Harry married Gussie Shockett and they settled in Rhode Island. This spice box was passed down to their daughter, your great-grandmother, and then to my mother, your Grammy. In 1994, the spice box was given to me to enjoy and treasure. Brody, we are so proud of you. You worked diligently and independently from the moment you got your Torah portion. You displayed incredible leadership skills and a depth of maturity that your friends and family have come to expect from you. The COVID pandemic created many obstacles and hardships, but Brody, you overcame them without complaint or disappointment. In fact, you thrived. Throughout your bar mitzvah studies, you have been good-natured, kind, and a few people actually think funny. Mom and I are extremely confident that you're ready to become a young adult and an important member of our community. Earlier this week, our family spoke with Rabbi Mo about the importance of rituals and traditions. We acknowledge that our traditions are only as durable and meaningful as the commitment of the last member of our family to preserve and carry on the customs of our ancestors. Brody, you could not hope for a better guardian of this family heirloom. It is with great love, enormous pride, and much admiration that we present you with this generational spice box. We love you.
Give your parents a hug, your brother too, and thank you for those very, very moving words. Brody, you have this exceptional Torah portion which you'll be chanting from today. Please introduce where it's from, and then we'll have the first Aliyah.
My portion is taken from Parshat Beshalach, from the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 27, through chapter 15, verse 5.
For the first Aliyah, we're pleased to call your parents and your brother. They'll stand next to you. I'm going to invite the person who's helping to tilt the camera so you can stand at the Torah, Brody. You can all kind of shift to your right so you can, there we go. Come next to Brody so we can see you. As you chant the Aliyah, you can take the cover off the Torah, right? You can put it to the side. That's great. So that's the yad you made when you were in 6th grade. That's amazing. All right, invite your family to first chant the Aliyah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bar karbanu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et torto. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Az Yashir Moshe Uvnei Yisrael et Hashira Hazot Ladonai Vayomru Lemor Ashira Ladonai Kiga Oga Suz Barokevo Ramavayam O Ziv Zimratia Vahili Lishua Ze'eli Va'anvehu Elohei Avi Va'armaminhu Adonai Ishmael Hama Adonai Shemo.
Tremendous reading and chanting. Now I'll invite your family to the blessing after that section of Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Amen.
All right, thank you so much. For the second Aliyah, we call Joel Saferstein and Amy Raskin. They're joining you, I think, via Zoom today.
Baruch hu Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Brody, you can do your second section of Torah now. You know what, Brody? I'm going to ask you a second because we're having a bit of a sound issue, and I just can't let everyone who's here miss you chanting your magnificent portion. So our staff member Will is helping with our AV. Why don't you just say a few words, just say good morning so we can make sure the audio is working, Brody.
Morning, everyone.
All right,
There
it's
it is.
working. Okay, so you can chant your second section of Torah now.
Amen. Markevot paro v'helo yarabayam umipar shalishav tubeu ve'amsu tehomot yahazimu yaradu bimsolot kemo aven Yamaneha Adonai nedari bahawa Yamaneha Adonai tzirat oye Uvrov geoneha taharos kamecha teshalach haroneha yohelemo kakash Uvruach apeka ne'ermu mayim nitzevu kemoned nutzelim kafeu tehomot belev yam.
Amazing. Thank you. And now Mark Saferstein will join us with a blessing after that section of Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right. Well, that was beautifully done chanting of 2 aliyot, and you have one left, Brody. And before we call you up officially as a bar mitzvah to the Torah to chant your Torah blessings and this last aliyah, we just wanted to say a few words to you. And it's been such a pleasure working with you, even across the internet on Zoom. And one thing really sticks out in my mind from our meetings together. I usually ask my B'nai Mitzvah students what becoming B'nai Mitzvah means to them. And your answer really stuck with me. You said, and I don't know if you remember what you said, Brody, but it was really, really brilliant. You said that becoming a B'nai Mitzvah is kind of like a birthday, but it's a much bigger milestone because you're reaching a new level of maturity. And I couldn't think of a better answer given what your portion is, because when the children of Israel crossed through the Sea of Reeds on dry land and witnessed the miracle and saw all the amazing things that God had done for them, they kind of reached a new level of maturity too. They also, in that moment, kind of left behind a different version of themselves, and they bettered themselves. They knew how to then survive that next chapter in their lives. And I think of you, Brody, and I think of your answer a lot, that this B'nai Mitzvah for you, this process, the whole experience of practicing and rehearsing and all of the learning that you've done has caused you to reach that other side, cross to that other side. And it's because of who you are that you were able not only to get there, but to get there so beautifully and to inspire everyone around you along the way. And that makes us so incredibly proud and also makes us filled with incredible hope for the future that you are one of our leaders. You are one of our young leaders. You are one of our young voices to our movement and to Judaism, and we are so proud. So it's with all of that emotion, with all of that pride that we call you up to the Torah now for the very first time as a bar mitzvah by your Hebrew name. Ya'amod, 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 habar mitzvah, Yehuda ben David uleha. And you can do the blessing before.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach leolam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natamanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amar oyev erdof asi ahalek shalal timla emo nafshi ari harbi tori shemo yadi neshafta baruchaha kisamo yam salelu kaoferet b'mayim adari. Michamoha ba'elim Adonai, Michamoha nedar b'chodesh, noratehi lo osefele. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'kayei olam nata b'Eloheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amazingly done.
Such a great job. Mazel tov on that incredible chanting. I'll invite you to roll the scroll together and put the cover on the top, and then you can move the camera and yourself, Brody. Well, actually, Brody, you move to the podium. The camera can move back to the podium, and we're going to hear your Haftarah. So just wait for a second for your dad to put the Torah there, and you can just put the cover right on top. You don't have to fully dress the Torah as long as it's covered. We're giving honor to it. And before you chant your Haftarah, Brody, we want you to introduce this section you're reading from today.
The Haftorah for this week is taken from the book of Judges. I will be reading from chapter 5, verses 26 through 31. Yada layate tishlafna v'mineha tehalmud amelim v'halema sisera mahaha rosho umihatsa v'halefa rakato bein ragleha kara nafal shahav bein ragleha kara nafal basher kara sham nafal shadud ve'ad hachalon nishkefa vateyabev ein sisera ve'ad ha'eshnaf madua boshesh rikbo lavo madua eharu ha'ameh markebotav hachmot Surateha tanena afi tashiv amareha la halo yimseu yahaleku shalal rahamatayim larosh gever shalal sevayim le sisera Shalal Tzavayim Rik ma'a seva, rik matayim, litzberei shalal, kein yovedu, kolo yaveha Adonai, ve'ohavav ketzei, hashemesh bigberotav, Batishkot ha'aretz arba'im shana. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zur kol ha'olamim, sadik bekol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber u'mkayim, Shekol devarav emet vatzedek, al haTorah ve'al havodav ve'al haneve'im ve'al yom haShabbat hazed shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha ve'linuha lechavod ultiferet al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim la Umvarhim ota, yibara shimcha, varfi kol hai, tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Baruch Shemo.
Shabbat.
Amen.
A tremendous chanting of that beautiful Haftarah. I always like the balance between the Torah portion and the Haftarah, because the Torah portion, there's Aliyot and there's sections being read, but with the Haftarah, it's just one long solo of a beautiful section of the prophets, and Brody, you chanted it so beautifully. I have really enjoyed our time together, our discussion of this portion, this very rich and famous portion of the Torah, and we had really tremendous learning together around it, and I'm so glad that everyone who's joining us today will have a chance to hear from you about this Torah portion, as we'll ask you now to deliver your Devar Torah.
My Torah portion begins when Pharaoh grants the Israelites wish to leave Egypt and become free once more. As the Israelites were escaping, it was said that Pharaoh had a change of heart and decided he wouldn't allow the Israelites to be free. Moses encouraged the Israelites to keep walking. He said that they would be able to escape before Pharaoh could catch them. As the Israelites continued walking, they saw dust rising from behind them. There was a stampede of Egyptians trying to re-enslave all of them. Moses and the people of Israel approached the Sea of Reeds, thinking that this would be their last time doing so. Moses got a calling from God to split the sea and set his people free. Moses held his hand over the water and prayed with all of his heart for the sea to set back. After seconds of nothing happening, the sea set back with a strong east wind all night. The Israelites sprinted through the opening with the Egyptians right on their tail. As the Israelites crossed the sea, they were continuously praying for safety and protection. As the Egyptians began to enter the water, the sea began to close. Most of the Egyptians drowned, but one or two of them made it out alive and returned to their homeland. When reading my Torah portion, I wondered how the Israelites managed to find time to pray, even in these horrifying and scary moments. When crossing the Sea of Reeds, the Israelites were constantly praying. I wondered to myself how the Israelites found time to pray. I realized that the Israelites must have been optimists because people who prayed believed that things could improve. I was glad to see that my ancestors had hope and believed that God could help them. These Israelites also believed in themselves. There's an ancient legend that tells the story of a man named Nachshon. He didn't wait for God's help. He went straight into the sea until the water was up to his nose. God noticed that he believed that the sea would split, so God entered Nachshon's action and the sea split at once. Today, people are constantly praying for health workers and people who have contracted COVID-19. I was able to relate the Israelites to people today because both of these groups of people still find time to pray in hard times. It's not just people in America praying, it's people all around the globe. That makes me wonder if others around the world were praying for the Israelites and for them to survive and be okay. But maybe back then it was hard for word to spread when there are no phones to notify each other. In today's world, there are many optimists and pessimists. I'm an optimist because I always hope for the best to happen, just like members of the Israelites who are constantly praying for survival. In some ways, I strive to be a little bit like Nachshon. I do this by praying in my action. In preparing this Light of Torah, I was inspired by the story of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. He went out to march with Martin Luther King for equal rights for all Americans. People asked him, "Rabbi, why are you out here marching? Shouldn't you be in synagogue praying for change?" He responded by saying, "I am praying. I am praying with my feet." I would like to encourage all of us to be optimistic, stay hopeful, to pray in spirit, and sometimes even pray with your feet.
Wow. Thank you, Brody. Well, just by leading us this morning, you have certainly given us reason to be optimistic and hopeful, and you've given us an important charge as well, and there's no doubt. You have proven that each of us can uplift one another, and we need that now more than ever. I just want to read you, there's so many beautiful notes on our Central Synagogue Facebook page from people who are joining you. And Marlene wrote, "Thank you for persevering through this pandemic to fulfill this mitzvah. It's brought me much needed joy during these dark times." And I know she's not alone in feeling that way. We want to invite your parents and brother to come up next to you. We're going to sing a song of celebration. I know you have a few friends who are in your bubble there that are with you. They can stand up and we'll dance a little bit and celebrate you becoming bar mitzvah today.
Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Ulechol Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Israel, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael.
All right. We are going to invite you and your family to be seated. We're going to conclude our service with some concluding prayers at this point. Aleinu is on page 282.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
As we prepare to read the Mourner's Kaddish, I share this poem, Yesh Kochavim, there are stars up above, so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. And the stars that light up the darkest of nights, these are the lights that guide us. The Shabbat, we lovingly remember dear ones from your family, Brody, Albert Saferstein, and Gail Sperling Taboda. And we also read with love names of dear ones connected to this community that have died within the past 30 days. Henry Lewis Aaron, Erwin Martin Ballard, Henry Zadie Benish, Bonnie Berman, Andy Brooks, Alan Seisler, Gloria Diamond, Phyllis Elstein, Howard Gans, Carol Gordon, Vera Hera, William Huth, David Kane, Ted Kirsch, Laurie Kogel, Susan Cara Madden, Peter Morse, Miriam Molk, Susan Patrikoff, Gerald Paul Pont, Betty Roswell, Cheryl Tuttle, and Daniel Wolf. On our order of service on our website is listed names of loved ones whose yahrzeits occur at this season. If you are remembering a loved one this Shabbat morning, we'll invite you now to say their name out loud or in your hearts. And if you're able, I'll invite you to rise in our prayer books on page 294, the sacred words of Kaddish Yatom of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalmad divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yomachon u'v'chayidich al beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'zman kariv v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam omei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit taleh, v'yit talal, shemei de kudsha, brichu, le'ala min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram b'yama v'yimru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen.
So we will conclude with a song of joy, a song of peace, as we congratulate Brody and your family. So let's sing together.
We'll invite you to come up to the podium with your mom and dad and your
and
brother.
sing
We want to see you as we sing out the song of joy at the end of this service.
Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al Shabbat shalom, mazel
Shabbat
tov.
shalom. Stay warm. Stay safe.